Despite the unshakable Iowa Corn Cyhawk rivalry, there is one thing Iowa State and University of Iowa fans can both agree on: getting hyped for Unleaded 88. It's cleaner burning and better for your engine, and it's cheaper than other fuel options, making Unleaded 88 the clear fuel choice. If Iowa Corn Cyhawk rivals can agree on it, you know it's worth the hype. So pump it up with Unleaded 88, grown by Iowa corn farmers.
Hey there, welcome to episode 379 of the Find Your Food Voice podcast. I am your host, Julie Duffy Dillon, and I'm also a registered dietitian, and I'm going to be talking to today another registered dietitian. She's actually someone that is local to me in my teeny tiny wonderful town, and we are two dietitians that have collaborated a lot over the years. And if you do any kind of non-diet work, you tend to gravitate towards other people doing the same because it can be really draining, right? To do this type of work that is countercultural. So I encourage you to find your supports, but I called Megan to go through some of the technical sides of GLP-1s. If you're wondering why I'm talking about GLP-1s, well, this all started when a local colleague of ours, their name is Jessie Spence, reached out to me to have a conversation about their personal experience using a GLP-1, specifically Ozempic, and just like how it's been feeling and just the experience that they're getting, and sometimes not the support that they need within the non-diet, anti-diet community. So if you are someone that is maybe thinking about trying one, just starting to kind of think about it, and you're also rejecting diets or recovering from an eating disorder, we hope that these episodes help you to discern your next best steps. And this episode today in particular, I hope it is very practical for you. You know, it helps you to better understand just the physiology, the nuts and bolts about GLP-1s in general. So we are going to hear from Megan after a very quick sponsor break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Hey, Megan, how's it going?
Hey, Julie.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
I love that we're having this conversation and other people get to hear it. And one thing that the listener doesn't know is that you and I know each other because we live in the same place, and we've known each other for a long time. And I know that you used to work in pharmaceutical sales and had a role with GLP-1s. Could you let us know what you were doing back in the day?
So I was a pharmaceutical rep that promoted a drug for a large pharmaceutical company that was not a GLP-1 receptor agonist like you've been talking about, but worked in the same area. It increased levels of GLP-1 in diabetic patients, but just using a different mechanism of action. Whereas a GLP-1 receptor agonist, is a mimicking, GLP-1 in our bodies. It's kind of giving us a dose of GLP-1. This, it blocked something else that breaks down GLP-1 in the body to help raise the levels. So the area is familiar to me. And at the time, there was a GLP-1 receptor agonist that had come onto the market prior, exenatide, which I believe is the first to market.
Yes, that's what I think too. Yeah.
These conversations, one of my jobs for a while was just to really be talking about GLP-1 because it felt like newer science. So we were having conversations.
Can I ask you a question really quick? What year was this?
Oh, you want me to do years?
Even give us a range, because it was years ago.
It was
right?
a long time ago. It was a long time ago. So I stopped working there in 2009, I believe. 2010.
Okay.
It might have been 2009. Yeah, 2009, 2010, somewhere in there. And so the couple years or so leading up to that. So we're in the maybe 2008, 2007, something like that.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. But go ahead. I totally interrupted you.
Yeah. So that was is kind of my unique background, as a dietitian. I got to regularly have conversations with doctors about this and also what they were seeing in their patients, and particularly around the science. Because like I said, it felt like fairly new science to all of us because most doctors hadn't learned about that.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Baker's for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Baker's, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply. At Baker's Pharmacy, CARE is making it easy to get vaccinated. CARE is helping you stay protected from flu, COVID, and RSV. Seasonal vaccines are available 7 days a week with evening hours. CARE is giving you a shot at staying healthy this season. Walk in whenever is best and get multiple vaccines in one visit at your local Baker's Pharmacy. So come and get the protection you need while protecting those around you. Baker's, a world of care is in store. Visit bakersplus.com/vaccines for more. Restrictions and exclusions apply. See site for details.
Med school.
What do you wish people interested in trying a GLP-1 knew about how it functions in the body?
When I explain this to clients, I feel like one of the things that surprises them most, and that I really feel like everybody should know, is that there is nothing about GLP-1 receptor agonists that actually address like fat in the body, that address fat cells. So these aren't, when we think about weight loss drugs, we think about like, oh, this is a drug that's going to help me like, quote unquote, melt fat away or something like that, that it's actually working and that its purpose is to work on fat in the body. And instead, like I mentioned, so the function of GLP-1 in the body, some of its functions that we're aware of is, to help with insulin secretion, and to help delay like what is called gastric emptying, but essentially means like how quickly food moves through our stomach. And what we know is that people who have type 2 diabetes, their levels and function of GLP-1 are diminished. And so we can give somebody with type 2 diabetes like a big sugar drink, like a glucose drink, and we can see compared to people without diabetes that the response of their GLP-1 is a lot lower. Like it's a lot lower. So what I always like to help people understand is that a lot of the weight loss that we're seeing that does come with these drugs in a variety of amounts per the individual has to do with reduced intake. The appetite decreases when you take these drugs. There's sometimes nausea can be a side effect, and a desire to eat in general becomes reduced when you use a GLP-1 receptor agonist. So what I always like to help people understand is that the drug's not doing something to your body that's making it lose weight. You're eating less in response to taking the medication. So it's not unlike choosing to eat less in some ways. It's just happening in a little bit more of a physiological way, like a physiological imposition, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, that does. Yeah. And I think it's a helpful thing, especially if people have experience with that behavior and how their body reacted to eating less. Like I guess there's some people, they eat less and then nothing happens. And then for probably most of us, they experience something where like eventually they're going to hit some panic hunger, maybe when the medication stops or the body gets used to it. I know it's something that we talked about when I was talking to Jesse in their interview, like mentioning like after being on for a while, they said like eventually their hunger came back, and it was kind of like, whoa, what the hell's happening? I'm not used to this. But like, yeah, that's like a normal, natural reaction. Of course, they're not getting enough. But yeah, so for some people, they may experience like a binge eating or food thoughts, right? And I'm just thinking about what you said, like we can kind of like put that in our pocket then if someone goes on a medication that they're not eating as much, they may experience the same thing that they have in the past when they don't eat as much.
Absolutely. It's another, like, I don't think we have undone any of the challenges that we have seen thus far with any other methods of restriction that have been put in place. And what studies are showing is that rebound weight, meaning, gaining the weight back that somebody's lost before, is also prevalent with these drugs. And so, as we know, the back and forth, regardless of the methods that you're using to decrease your weight, the weight regain again can put us at risk for increased type 2 risk for type 2 diabetes. There's some of the problems that we're trying to solve, not to mention like 100% frustration when you feel, your weight increasing, if it's something that feels important to you. So I think that I think it's important to understand that these aren't necessarily like a new magic bullet for sustainable weight loss. And I recently was part of a continuing education where a study was presented that showed that the dropout rate for these medications can be, like half. Studies are showing half of individuals not being able to stay on the drug after 12 months due to the side effect profile. And a lot of times that comes from pushing the dose higher and higher and higher for the purposes of achieving the weight gain versus looking at it just from blood sugar management, which it can be beautiful for that. Because I mentioned there's that deficit. There's nothing wrong with an individual's GLP-1 levels who does not have diabetes, like they already have. So now we're kind of really doubling up on GLP-1. Whereas, with somebody with diabetes, we're really helping address a deficit, which is, I think, really cool and really neat.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate all this information. This is super helpful. And tell people where they can find you if they want to know more about like how you can help them.
simplenutritioncounseling.com. That's such a mouthful. I know you might put it in show notes or something someplace.
Yeah, I will, of course.
But that's a place that you can find out about the practice that I'm in Greensboro, North Carolina. And we see clients virtually and in person, me and my associate, Donetta. And there's also a spot on there that you can sign up for our newsletter. We are offering different education opportunities. And if somebody wanted to stay in the loop about those types of things, as well as receive like occasional resources, that would be something that they can sign up for and continue to hear from us.
Awesome. Well, thank you for giving us a peek behind the curtain of what goes on in pharmaceutical sales, like all the different things, and sharing some helpful information about how it works in the body. So I appreciate it. Thanks, Megan.
Thank you, Julie.
So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed my conversation with my friend Megan Hadley. You can find out more about her and her practice at simplenutritioncounseling.com. And look for the companion episode to this episode. And the next day or two, you're going to be hearing from Donetta Floyd, and we are going to dive deeper into the connection with diabetes and how GLP-1s interact when you have diabetes. And if you haven't listened to my conversation with Jessie Spence, who kind of started all of this wonderful kind of nuanced conversation on Ozempic and trying to navigate using this medication while also doing things like intuitive eating or other anti-diet work. So check out that as well. And we hope you enjoy this episode. And until next time, take care.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Baker's. For thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Baker's, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.